Hi and welcome back to the Catching Up podcast. Still Sand Knight, still your host, and I have with me Carrie Palmer. Thank you very much for being here with me today again.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's a pleasure.
We'll be playing Kuni, but the difference between what I usually do and what we'll do right now is that my PS3 capture seems to have quite a problem, and we ended up deciding that this was the trick we wanted to show. And I think this is a pretty interesting one, and I can't wait to see Professor Palmer do it. But so instead of me doing it, he's gonna teach me, but he's gonna be playing it. So take it away.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this is the duplication glitch. I'll kind of get into how it works in its intricacies and things like that. I mean, it's super easy to pull off. It's very simple, and like what it does is immediately apparent and very obvious. But then when it comes to like figuring out the exact specifics and like why the game does it the way it does it, and like all those kinds of things, and how 100% ways to not screw it up or where we can abuse it, like then it becomes a different monster in and of itself. But
All right.
I'll show you how it works right off the bat. So you'll see here I have 3 white breads
Yes.
and nothing else in my inventory. So right here I'm going to go ahead and pick up this iced coffee.
Okay.
And now if we look at my inventory, it's going to be 3 white breads and an iced coffee, which
Nice.
is my most recently obtained item. Pretty, yeah, makes sense, right? You pick up the coffee and there it is.
Up till now, I'm still following.
Yeah. So far, you're doing well. We're
Yes.
killing it. So then the next thing to do is to take an encounter.
All right.
And doesn't matter what encounter. Now there are 2 things you can do here. You can either win. Well, first of all, you have to use up all of an item from your inventory.
Okay.
Now I'm going to use up all of the white bread, and the reason for that is because I want the coffee to be duplicated.
Okay.
And it also, because of the way the glitch works, the most recently obtained item is what is going to be targeted by this.
Okay, yeah.
So we'll use up the white bread. It can be anything as long as it's not the most recently attained item. And then you can either run away or you can win the battle.
Okay.
And if you win the battle, you run the risk of obtaining like an item
Something
as
else.
a reward.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So you can screw it up in that sense. So the safest thing to do is to just run away.
Makes sense.
And now we have 0 white bread and just 1 coffee.
Yep.
So now what we do is we go find another enemy. We'll just run right over here. It doesn't matter. Well, it doesn't matter what kind of enemies you fight, whether they be bosses or regular fights, and then we just go die. That's all we do.
Oh, okay.
It's really neat, and people ask me all the time. They're like, "Oh my gosh, did you just lose the run?" Oh, it might take a while. This guy's weak. But people will ask me, did you just lose the run? Oh no, what's gonna happen? I'm like, no, we do this a bunch of times. So we die on purpose. But since he's doing so little damage, it'll give me time to kind of speak on how it works and things in the history of what it's done for the game.
Nice.
Looks like we might be here in a minute. But, so yeah, what happens is when you use up the last of an item from your inventory,
Yep.
and then you run away from a fight, it will it'll lock in basically the duplication on the most recently obtained item.
Okay.
Then you run into the next fight and you die. And then when you die, the game has a continue functionality.
Yes.
So whenever you die, you just hit continue, and it puts you right back at right where you were, the last load screen or save stone or whatever you hit. Now, when that happens, the game gives you your items back. Like, so if I go into a boss fight and I use up all my items and I die, I don't then have to load and be like, well, now I have no items. I definitely can't win.
Yeah, exactly.
So in order to counteract that, the game gives you items back. Now, because of the way that continue function works and that item restoration works, we can manipulate like inventory, like codes, like, what is considered what. And when that happens, the game tries to give you the item that you used up, quote unquote, the item we used the last of in our inventory, and instead it just gives you double of what the most recently obtained item was, because it can't quite figure it out because of the way the inventory sorts itself. So if you load back in right now, you'll see that I should have 0 white breads
and 2 coffees.
2 coffees.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, it is. It's super neat. I'll drop out really quick and load a save and show you. That's it. You can do it with any item as long as it's the most recently obtained thing.
But would you have to do a setup again, or just loading that state, going into a fight, and then dying again would put you at 4 highest coffee?
Yeah, well, no, you have to. So I'd have to have like 10 items, and then use up one in a fight, run away, die in the next fight, and then
Okay.
my whatever is newest gets duplicated. And then
Okay.
I would have to then load, go do it again, use up an item, run away. The same thing would get duplicated, and you just keep doing that to stack it up. So 2 coffees to 4 coffees to. You
8,
have to
yeah.
have items to use.
Sure,
So
makes
you'll
sense.
see right here, the strongest item in the game. I had set up enough dupes to go from 1 to 2, 2 to 4, all the way up to 99.
Wow.
And just using up, I would use up a phoenix feather, it would go to 2 to 4. And then the next
Okay.
fight, I would use up a phoenix tier, it would go to 4 to 8. And you set it up in that fashion. Now there are a lot of intricacies, but
Okay.
I guess I took a fight. That's a shame.
That's all right.
It's easy. We will kill him really fast.
Yep.
But the what's really neat about it is that once we figured that out, Quaspalm figured it out. Genius Router did a lot for this game, and he's my boy. I love him to death, and he figured all this out himself on accident, actually, because he
Okay.
he used up in a boss fight an item, then he went into the next boss fight and died.
Okay.
And then when he loaded, he was like, "Oh man!" And he looked at his inventory and was like, "Wait, what the crap?" And then once we figured out, like, we basically weighed, like, what could have possibly done that? We figured out that there was, we can manipulate it into duplicating what we want it to. And there's 2 items in the game, what I'm about to show you here, what I'm about
Okay.
to sell, these Wizard King secrets and Great Sage's secrets. And they're both basically elixirs.
Yeah.
One is an AoE elixir. This one is the Great Sages. So in the any percent
Oh
run,
my free.
we get some of these and we sell them.
Yes.
And then the way the dupe works is we set up the dupe, we then sell all the Sage's secrets, then we die, and we
Okay.
keep the money, and it gives them all back.
Oh yes.
So we end up with on a ridiculous amount of money,
Yeah.
and then we end up with, so if you see me sell these right here,
Oh my god.
I got 1.5 million, and then we'll go die really fast, and you'll see that when you do die and you continue, it takes away 10% of your money or 5% or something like that as a, like, this is the penalty for dying or
Yeah.
continuing or whatever.
But giving you
but-
back 99 King secret.
Exactly.
It's
And,
gonna make up for it.
Exactly. And we don't, oh no, we lost that much money is really never going to change anything for us. So it's doing that. Not only does it give us basically unlimited money, which is what we were first focused on once upon a time. And, but the fact that it gives us elixirs to be able to just spam throughout the entirety of the game allows us to be a lot more greedy. It allows us to, not lean so much on store-bought stuff. Because the way that it used to work is your money would come about halfway through the run.
Yeah.
You would, oh, come on, Drippy. You would get money halfway through the run by abusing a casino, and it's a casino, and it works like a casino where there's a good deal of luck to it, no matter how hard you try or what kind of tricks you may use.
Okay.
So a lot of the runs ended at that point in the game, and once you got a solid enough PB with a good enough casino, it was it was awful trying to top it. And as a result, a lot of new runners were like, I'm not really interested if that's what you got to rely on or if that's part of the game. But
Makes sense. Yeah, that much RNG that far into a game that can be heartbreaking.
exactly, and you're left at this point. The quality of your runs are bad too, because it's like, well, I guess I can continue with this, and you're just, people's PBs. Well, they might have PB'd. It's still like, there's just so much time out there in one way, shape, or form that you could get, and it really is a shame that it works in that fashion, or that it did. But as soon as we figured this out, not only did we have more money than we ever did with the casino route, the elixirs at the same time, but we got it so much earlier. Yeah, see, I lose 75 grand.
Oh no,
sounds scary.
It is a lot of money, yes.
But you see right here, boom, there's the 99, there's the 1.4 mil. You got all the money, and you can infinitely do it if you wanted to, and just stack up money until you were sick in the head. But
up until the point where 99 of them would be worth less than 5% of your total amount of money.
Exactly. And that could be a while when they sell for $1.5 million.
Could be a while, yes.
And it is. It did so much for the game. Having money earlier than we used to, with far less risk, like it's 100% consistent. Now when we routed the 100%, it played a big factor in that as well.
Yes.
So that 36-hour run could have very well been a 45-hour run if we had to deal with casino for 2 hours in order to get the money and the resources that we needed.
Exactly.
But now I just go and I'm like, oh, I need a little bit of money. I just set up the trick and I'm like, there you go. There's a little bit of money. 1.5 million monies in fact.
Wow. This is such a cool trick, though. It's very simple, but like you said, the intricacies at the end is it's pretty cool. And it is more complicated. There's more to it than it seems at first. Yeah, that's a cool trick.
Yeah, it's very simplistic in design.
Yes.
Use up the last of an item and run away from a fight.
Yeah.
Die in the next one, and whatever your most recently obtained item is gets doubled. Like it's so simple in practice and in theory. And then but then when you're doing runs, it's crazy that you can still find ways to screw it up.
But the most interesting thing to me about that trick, and you've just talked about it a little bit, but it's finding it. Like, it must have been such an interesting discussion between you and what was his name?
His name is Quaspol.
Quaspol. That discussion must have been really interesting. Where like, okay, what did happen and why, and just trying to find the thing that triggers it. That must have been a blast.
Yeah, and it was crazy because like I just started learning the game and was like struggling with casino and was like, I don't want to practice on the casino the entire time and practice the rest of the game and just I'll have to just figure the casino out. And then Quaz said, I think I figured out a way to duplicate stuff. We can duplicate the great, and it's crazy just to see since that's been a thing, like how the ways we've changed with it. Because it used to be we would set it up in a specific spot, and then we figured out ways to do that faster. And then we figured out, because we used to get them to 99, sell half of them, and then have half of them to use or whatever. So less money, and some on hand. Yeah. But then we're like, well, we could take a little bit of time loss, but take it a step further by setting it up one more time, selling it, then dying, get all the money we need, and then all the items, and then we changed where we did it as a result because of that to make it a little bit faster. So it's nuts to see how this has been included, and nowadays with the route, it's actually faster than even the best case scenario casino. Wow. Back from the old route, so there's not even any reason to go back to the casino. No, absolutely. We had old runners and people who used to watch us do our old runs and things like that. They come in all the time and meme about the casino. They're like, "Hey, when's the casino? Like when are we doing Platoon, which is the card game we would play?" Yeah. And all of us just shudder. We're like, "Oh God, please don't bring those dark days ever." But a lot of people have, the people that I got to do this recent 100% run with me, it would have been a lot harder to sell them on something like that if the casino was still around. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, which was Bowie the Hero and High Spirit, right? Yes, it was. And I think there was a fourth runner that came in at the end, Melrose. Yeah, Melrose. Yeah, he's a runner of the game as well, so he came in and joined us at the end. But it's crazy to see, how the game around that, now that we have that variable where we're like, we have so much more money, we can be riskier in fights. So basically a lot of fights and things had to be rerouted because we had resources, and we're like, we can get a lot more greedy with this because we have the resources to back it up. And it took the old casino route, it was a 6.5 hour world record, and now it's down to a 5.5 hour world record, and it's largely in part due to this glitch. And it's madness. It's crazy. And we think we have it figured out. Like, there's still one thing that for some reason screws it up, and it happens like 1 out of every 100 runs, where like you get items from certain fights, certain boss fights, and if you use up an item at a certain spot and then you get the secrets later, it like screws it up. But it hardly ever happens, and so rarely, in fact, that we don't like. We're already so tired of digging into this. But outside of that, we've got it like figured out to the T. Quaz even uploaded a YouTube tutorial with like video guide and everything, really, really well done on exactly how it works and the intricacies. Because like I said, man, it's easy in theory. Yep. It's easy when you watch it be done. But when you're on a world record pace run, it's crazy how often you find ways to screw something so easy, screw it up. But what's fun about this trick is it's all theoretical. Like, I was a bit. I thought it was kind of sad that I wasn't gonna
do it myself, but this is so theoretical that I don't need to do it myself. Like, just the explanation is enough. Everybody can do that at home. That's finding it that had to be complicated, but now applying it and applying it in the speedrun process, of course, can be a problem. Like you said,
doing it quickly is a challenge. But yeah, like you said, like anybody can go home and boot up Ni no Kuni, and like I was in the coffee and the bread. Drippy gives you the bread right off the bat.
Yep.
You go pick up the first item you can find, and boom, there you go. You can do it in, like I did, just two simple fights. Anybody, it's super accessible. Like it's crazy how, you know, this trick that determines like so much of the run. A new runner comes in and he's got it right away. You know, he's immediately understands it and can do it 100% consistently.
But that is appealing. Like, you're removing the worst case of RNG from your game and replacing it by a very user-friendly one.
Oh yeah,
that is easy to get, but kind of hard to master. Like you said, doing it fast might be a problem, but that's really cool.
Absolutely, and it's so nice that like I go to play other games that I run or route a new game, and I'm like, you know what I would kill for right now? Sometimes like glitch? It's level 5 and makes Ni no Kuni, and Havoc is the engine they use, which is also the same company and engine that makes White Knight Chronicles 2.
Sure.
So I went in there and I was like, oh, maybe we'll get lucky. Let's try to set it up the same. No such luck, but you know, it's just when you find a run with a trick that's this nice and this impactful, this user-friendly, that does. I mean, these items restore all your HP and MP to everybody. Like, it's just, there's so many benefits to it that it's crazy that it's something as simple as just accidentally using an item up and then dying in the next fight was what led to its discovery. But
is this only on some version of the game, or even the updated version works?
It's on digital, it's on disc, it's on any way you can play Ni no Kuni, you'll be able to do it the exact same way, and it works purely off of their continue functionality.
Nice.
You know, that has a lot to do with it. So yeah, it only works for provisions, like you can't duplicate weapons or ingredients or anything like that. But that's more than okay for us. We're not gonna be greedy or anything like that. We're happy with what it is. And
well, if you want 2 sword, you've got 1.5 mil to spend it on, so you can buy whatever you want anyway.
Yeah, it's crazy how having infinite money and restorative items, you know, gives you the power to pretty much do whatever you want. Sometimes I go to stores and I just buy stuff and I'm like, I guess I need that. We'll see. You know,
sure. All right. I think that wraps the trick up, but thank you very much, Palmer, for taking the time to do this with me today. That was a blast.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's always a pleasure. I had tons of fun, and you know, it's a really cool thing. So I'm proud and proud to show it off.
Any last word before we leave off?
Not really. I mean, if anybody's interested in running Ni no Kuni, we have. I would love to have you. The whole community would, and you can feel free to hit me up, and I will help you learn anything you need to learn, including the duplication glitch. So.
All right. So, like I said, thank you very much, Palmer, and thank you very much, viewers. See you around on the next episode.